everybody, and welcome to the media show on the Pod TV network. I'm Nick Palavito. I'll be your moderator for today's program, which is all things media. And with that, we're going to bring a person who does a lot of media. He actually anchors one of our shows in the evening, Naked at Night, but also is a former writer for Jimmy Kimmel Live. Of course, when the strike came, member of the Mega Society. Let's bring in Rick Rosner. Rick, welcome to the media show. It's not the economic show. We're all about media. And with the media also, we have a person who has over 100 years experience in media, starting off when he was 2 years old or 3 years old, and now continues into the media world. We'll bring in Mark Lee, who you see on a lot of our shows on the Pod TV network. And then, of course, the president and the crazy founder of the network from the Raleigh-Durham area. We'll bring in Kim Calhoun, somebody who's crazy enough.
Crazy founder. Hey, Nick, Mark's got more experience than you, me, and Rick combined.
I mean, he started when he's 3 years old. What can you do?
Yeah, well, maybe not quite three, but I definitely started when I was a preteen, when my parents started that radio station in 1976, and I was doing media even before that. So I think I did my first mimeograph paper when I was either in the fifth grade or something along those lines. And my parents started the radio station when I was roughly 14 or something like that, and I'm now 61. So yeah, I've been in this media game for a while.
That's key. My ex-boss, Jimmy Kimmel, was on the radio. I think he was doing radio while he was still in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, as we know, the media is dominated by what we call the big media companies in the United States of America. 90% of everything you see, right, hear, or read is controlled by 5 corporations. Now, back in the 70s, it was 50 corporations had 90% of the media. Today, it's 5 corporations, all interlocking. To give you an idea of the interlocking nature of these corporations, there's a big media company called Google that owns YouTube, Meta owning Facebook, and of course CBS, which is owned by Paramount Studios, which owns even Simon & Schuster, although they're thinking about selling that book division off. So when you're consuming media, just realize when you're consuming media from big media, you're consuming the same garbage from the same garbage man, or the 5 that work together. Unfortunately, Pod TV is not like that. Pod TV has a very small following, as we well know. About in the last 365 days, 2.3 million. We are not consumed by the big media networks, but then we're also not big media. 2.3 million, I guess. Now we'll talk about Facebook, because we talked about them last week. Things haven't changed in the Meta Facebook area. I'm still banned. I've been almost like permanently banned. I switch people. I'm still banned. It doesn't matter what I say, think, or do. I get banned from Facebook. Today, there was a CEO of YouTube on one of the television shows saying, "Oh, we're responsible for all the content. We take care of all the content and all this other garbage." And frankly, what I've seen from YouTube, I like YouTube for certain things, but they do seem to be also garbage, controlled by Google garbage, very unfortunately. Then we also have the actors and writers strike that's going on. But
the writers came to an agreement.
Looks like they came to an agreement, but they haven't said what the agreement is.
They just said the writers' spokesperson said that they're very happy with the deal, which makes me optimistic because it's been a very cranky process. People have been pissed off, and I don't feel that they'd say something so glowing if they didn't get a pretty good deal.
They got a good deal, and all along that space. By the way, and just to give some history, it was literally because of a similar situation. That was the reason y'all started Pod TV. Is the reason that my parents started that particular radio station, WVSP, Voices Serving People in Warren County, and all in that space because they were frustrated that they did not hear enough jazz, because they were big jazz fans. They did not hear and ironically, we started a hip hop show during that era as well. So we were part of the early inclination of its 50th birthday and all along those lines. But they were frustrated because they didn't hear enough jazz. They're big jazz fans. They didn't hear enough R&B as much as they would like. They definitely didn't hear any blues, which is a music form that I love dearly and everything. And they also didn't hear enough voices from the African American and the Latin American, and well, maybe not so much Latin American, but definitely African American women and other perspectives and all along those lines. So they definitely decided to form a station that lasted for, as I was talking to Mom recently, about 12 years. So they were frustrated. And just like y'all started the Pod TV for similar reasons, that is why they started their particular network as well, because they were going like, wait a minute, we're frustrated and we got to do something about this. So they went through a much easier process of going through the FCC at that time. I think it might be not as easy as it was during that time, but they did that process with no radio background whatsoever, because neither one of my parents worked in that field at all. And they were like, hey, we're going to create our own station. And like I said, it did last for about 12 years.
Well, the radio industry was pretty much wrecked by a few large monolithic corporations, right?
Yes.
Like Cox Broadcasting.
Yeah,
Well,
chased all the talent into different fields, leaving, a lot of not great talent on radio sometimes.
Well, it's still the same issue right now. If you look at radio, if you look at television, as Nick just alluded to, a lot of it is controlled by major corporations, and there's usually a select few that are in charge. I mean, Clear Channel is a major player in the urban radio. Radio One is a major player, but these are usually things that all own various outlets. So think about it. If you had both the talent, the venue, and the media, and in some places that is literally what is going on. Take Live Nation and all in that space, then you pretty much got a monopoly. But Nick, you're an attorney. Aren't we supposed to be an anti-monopoly place? But there's a number of monopolies that exist in the media. I just pointed out one, Live Nation. There are a number of other ones that exist as well, where they pretty much own everything that is part of the entire empire and all along those lines. So that has been a problem that has existed now for a while, and some people are glad to get out of it because they're finding their own outlets, whether that's through YouTube, Facebook, or a number of other sources.
Monopolies lead to lack of accountability and terrible quality control. Radio executives have been made fun of, for as long as I've been listening to radio, because nobody is holding them to account for being crappy.
Yeah, but Mark, I actually took antitrust law 40 years ago. Okay. And if I had to try to make my living as an antitrust attorney, I would be stone cold broke, because no one wants to enforce the antitrust laws, the U.S. government. Until recently, then Joe Biden is actually putting the kibosh on Google, believe it or not, because and there's other problems, as we know, with Apple Computer that has their Apple app that they charge 30% royalty to run your programs through Apple, which is obviously it's a monopolistic state. So right now, Google and Apple, yes, they do have monopolies over their respective areas. But as an antitrust attorney, you would be broke, because for the last 40 years, the antitrust laws, the government doesn't bother to enforce them. And when they do, it's a big splash, like the Microsoft case and the IBM case. But that's now going back decades and decades ago.
But hold on a second. Did Kim work in that same field and everything? Because as I recall, and I'm going to actually have something that I know Jacoby's a big person in, but I want to say there was a lot of antitrust around the phone companies and that kind of technology as well.
No, the AT&T breakup.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you actually have some dealings in that space?
You're going back decades ago. I mean, see right now, big tech is allowed to create monopolies and basically destroy the small competitors. And that's a problem that we're seeing, I think, Mark, on Facebook and YouTube. The only two areas that they knock us off all the time are broadcasting. We're knocked off on YouTube. It's owned by Google, and Facebook's owned by Meta, and they won't protect their turf. And hence they use their monopolistic edge so that our programs don't get broadcast through their respective channels.
Google and Apple
they're exercising their monopoly power, and they do have a monopoly on the media, on certain media sources. In other words, the Apple Meta has their monopoly through Facebook and their huge distribution network of around 2 billion viewers, and YouTube the same way through Google. They're multi-billion users. And then, of course, the search engines the same way. I even tried to put ads on the search engines. They knocked off Pod TV on their search engines ads, believe it or not. So it's like a constant battle if you want to use their media source. And I'm talking Facebook and Google. Okay.
Google and Apple, do a good
Yeah.
job of presenting a friendly public face.
Yeah. On the public face, I listened to the CO today on CBS and how friendly they are and open and how wonderful they are and all this other stuff, and they're full of it.
Until you poke at them and you find out,
If they perceive you as a competitor, you will be crushed like a bug. That's the reality of it. So, welcome to the media. I guess that shouldn't bother us, though.
Well, I noticed extreme prejudice against anyone who was competing with Fox or some of the major networks. If you were on Facebook, it wasn't just Pod TV, because they were hitting Nick and I constantly and taking us down for the strangest reasons. But I noticed other people who were branching out and doing their own network type media.
Well, they did it with Bold TV.
They was highly competing, and they were taking them down as well. I took snapshots of them. I'm going to reach out and touch base with them one day, but it was frustrating, not just for us, but I noticed that anytime we were hitting numbers higher than Fox or CNN, all of a sudden Nick and I were taken down. So, and it's been frustrating.
All of a sudden you violated their terms of service.
Using their tools, like they came back and told me, you can't use that song, it's a copyright. Well, I used it because you told me to make a reel with these photos, and that was the music you offered. So are you violating copyright? Shall I sue you? And then they backtrack.
Well, at least you got to talk
Speaking of copyright and everything along those lines, hold on a second. Speaking of copyright and all along those lines, there is this wonderful thing that is called the Creative Commons attributions license, and they actually ask you for reuse allowed. And it is a network that I just found out called Reason TV. They're kind of like us and all along those lines, but they are very much in the parody business. So I am a big fan of parody. So if it's all right with you, Nick, I'm going to actually play a couple of their videos because they're kind of fun, and they actually are a takeoff of some of the songs and everything. And it's by a comedian named Remy. So and they did a takeoff of like even the popular video that was part of the Republican debate that was held recently as well. So if it's okay with you, I want to play a couple of these videos because they said we can reuse them. So I want to reuse them. Is that okay with you?
As long as we have their permission to reuse them, I don't have any problem with that, Mark. I don't want to violate any personal.
No, they said it right there on their website, on their YouTube. I just read out what they said. They said reuse allowed. So let's hear it.
Even I noticed, even if we have written authorization to use it, because content, if they have it established so that AI is supposed to search, it will take you down anyway. And then you have to send the letter. I mean, it's honestly, still stupid.
It is still stupid, but let's try to see what Remy's talking about with this particular song. So hold on one second. Here we go.
Despite the controversy, the song has gained popularity, something other musicians are keen to capitalize on.
Open a lemonade stand on the sidewalk. Go for a long walk in the middle of the night. Keep schools open so that kids can keep on learning. You think it's cool? Well, act a fool if you like. Put someone's groceries in a bag that doesn't immediately break. Don't bake a penis cake. We'll try that in a large town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we're punishing our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a large town. Call the line for 9 emergencies. Cause somebody's dropping trousers on your daisies. That stuff might fly in the country. Good luck. Try that in a large town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we speed camera our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a large town.
in this field of comedy and parodies and all along those lines. So before I play the other one, what is your thoughts around the notion of parodies and all along those lines? Because I think the other one actually is a takeoff on Congress and how they are paid and everything. But definitely, I'd love to hear both Rick and Toby's thoughts around.
I know
parodies.
that legally parody is a defense, that you can, as long as you make a creative modification to the product, then you're supposed to be able to use it. And
Cool.
parody is a creative modification.
Sounds like it and everything. I don't know if Toby's got some thoughts, but we're gonna play one more and then
I wish we had Nick online for that legal input on that, but I agree with Rick on that one.
I mean, I don't know if you sign a user agreement and so your stuff becomes on to whatever. Because one of the funny things that gets spread around on Facebook is people sending that or trying to say, well, you're not allowed to use my blah, 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 blah. That doesn't mean anything. You can post that all day. Facebook owns it. So Facebook can utilize whatever they want to and say it's illegal or not. So it's all
It's
in the
Instagram too.
Yep.
YouTube
Twitter, I mean,
tries to lock it down. Yeah.
It's whatever social media platform you jump onto that has a user agreement attached to it. And that supersedes anything that you say online. So that's why, okay. That's why some of the companies, even when they told others, like the musicians said that you can use my music all you want. Well, they still got pulled down, even though they were told you can use my music.
Yeah, and Toby, like I said, I think I'd seen this license before, but it's literally on this particular network, Reason TV and everything. But yeah, it literally says it's the Creative Commons attribution license, and it definitely says in parentheses reuse allowed. So that's why I knew that I could get away with that on this particular show and all along those lines, because it's quite there in their documentation and everything. So I'm gonna play one more of his songs and then we'll get back to our conversation and all of those lines. So one more, then we'll be done with these parodies.
These are your golden years, and you deserve a chance to enjoy them in a comfortable, nurturing environment on your terms. Here at Federal Senior Living and Hospice, we make sure your final years are active, dignified, and pretty much permanent. Nestled in the heart of the nation's capital, we offer every resident a fully independent lifestyle. With a staff of over 2 million spread across hundreds of agencies, you're free to abdicate all of your constitutional responsibilities to highly incentivized lobbyists, career bureaucrats, and college interns. Our members enjoy perks that your constituents can only dream of, including voting privileges, custom transportation, teleprompters, handrails, generous compensation packages, speechwriters, hordes of lobbyists, countless opportunities for graft and nepotism, and an annual taxpayer-funded allowance of more than $1 million per year. Take advantage of our luxurious on-site amenities like restaurants, pools, gyms, members-only elevators, and substantially weakened insider trading restrictions. Or maybe you just like to relax and unwind in your personal furnished living area away from constituents, microphones, and the uncomfortable truth surrounding your voting record and declining cognitive abilities. There's no need to worry about continuity of care, as we carefully gerrymander your district, guaranteeing you'll have a home here for perpetuity. We strive to give our residents the freedom to enact policies that benefit their own generation for decades to come. Some of our residents may become disoriented, confused, forgetful, and even completely out of touch with the world. At Federal Senior Living, we honestly don't give a damn. If you have a pulse, you have a vote. What better way to spend your twilight years than dictating regulation for highly technical, cutting-edge, billion-dollar industries that affect the lives of millions? Federal Senior Living and Hospice. We value independence. Wait, that can't be right. Is that? Oh, okay. Yep, that makes sense. Wait, does it?
That was
The next
really
little track
good.
on the
One
vote.
guy did that. What is that? The product of one person?
That's the product of Remy. Remy does a lot of these parodies.
Really, that was really good, Mark. We need to put that on our political show.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Well, you know what we should really do, because that was really good. What we should do on the political show, say, now we have a word from our sponsor. And then run that one. Because at first I was thinking, why is Mark putting an ad up there, about senior living and stuff like that? Then I saw Joe Biden and I was going, that's no ad. That's so funny, But it's also, unfortunately, a lot of it's true, what they say in that ad. I mean, their pensions are the best in the world. I mean, best in this country for sure. So they have good retirement. They have good health benefits. They gerrymander their districts. I mean, and unfortunately, they put it all on a credit card for our grandchildren or great grandchildren to pay.
There's a guy running against Lauren Boebert in Colorado who says if she gets elected one more time, she gets the lifetime pension, which I believe is like $174,000 a year for life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned something.
Their pensions are really good, Rick. There's somebody, I'm not going to mention, there's some people on our network, they're pulling high 6-figure pensions from the government right now. And you won't know who they are because I can't tell you, but I'm telling you that even after working in the pension area for years and spending time with these people, the best thing in the world, they never teach you that once you graduate from high school. Go work for a government that go work for a municipal corporation or a state or federal that has a pension, and then triple dip. In other words, quit once you maximize your benefits and then go work for another government one. And one guy that was in our country club was 40 years old. He goes, "Hey, I'm doing pretty good." I said, "What's it?" "Well, I make $100,000 a year sitting on my butt." I said, "You're 40 years old. How do you do that?" He goes, "Well, I collect 3 government pensions."
Well, there's another way. Hold on a second. There's another way you can make money, and Rick, you mentioned it earlier in the Naked at Night show, but I'd love to hear you talk about this on the media show. But apparently, there are a number of college athletes, and even some that are not college athletes, that are making a whole bunch of money. I think you said Primetime, even though he just took that L, and that very serious L against the Oregon Ducks, and I didn't realize that the Duck had to do such serious sit-ups. I think we need to get Willie Bull to do sit-ups after baseball hits and all along those lines. But you said that his son, I think, was making a lot of money in the name image and likeness space.
Yeah,
My
brother says that little Sanders, the Deion's son, is making $5.1 million. Just quickly about pensions. The last traffic ticket my wife got was by a cop who was making $250,000 a year, because the LAPD has a deal where you can start taking your pension but not retire for a few years and get your regular salary and your pension on top of it.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, well, the thing is, where you're at in California, there were like 3 cities that went bankrupt. City of Vallejo being the first one because of their pension benefits. They're trying to get rid of their benefits, and they kept getting stuck in court because you just can't declare bankruptcy and run away from your pension obligations. So it became a real problem. And I did represent a client in California a long time ago who was working in California. What we're doing is manipulating his income, so to speak. So he had pull in a $300,000 a year pension from the city of Los Angeles or something like that. Can you believe that? I mean, the amount of money that gets thrown in that direction is incredible. I have no clue what they do in Durham.
Speaking of that and everything, question, because apparently this is a major story. Apparently a major advertiser is getting ready to pull their ads out because one of the major live streamers is actually been known for disinformation and extremism, and we actually have a person that is affiliated with that network on our network as well. But apparently on this debate that's going to take place in 2 days, apparently it's a debate for second place because everybody says Donald's already going to win and everything, but this debate is being live streamed by Rumble, and apparently that is what's going on. So Burger King has pulled the advertising, and Rumble is seen as being a conservative outlet. So I just wondered if anybody had thoughts, one, about Rumble being the live stream backer, and also the fact that apparently Burger King is pulling its advertising, not just because of their being the RNC live streamer, but also around something going on with the Russell Brand and all in that space. So they are getting some flack.
In the previous hour, we were talking about immigration and education, and every topic that came up, I was thinking that conservative media is corrosive, particularly Fox News in this area. Skepticism about education, skepticism about science is pushed by a lot of conservative media. And so you've got this debate sponsored by Rumble, which is mostly where hard right-wing people go to avoid being taken off the air by YouTube. And we can be pissed at YouTube for the algorithms taking our shows off. But that doesn't mean that Rumble isn't a place full of right-wing lunatics.
Yeah. Well, I actually posted some of our content on Rumble, but then didn't because I'm not sure about their distribution. But the real reason I don't post a lot on Rumble, it takes a lot of time to post on Rumble. I don't know about you, Mark, but like to get our content on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, all that, you just press a button and it distributes through their channels. To get on Rumble, you got to take your content, load it up to Rumble, which takes some time, press the button, then all of a sudden your content goes up on Rumble. Because of that, I just don't put a lot of our content on Rumble. We could, but we just don't. I don't know, Mark, do you post any of the content on Rumble?
No, I don't, but actually we have Jeff Ahern, which he's not been doing the show because of some stuff going on in his own life and everything, but he should be coming back hopefully in October and all in that space. But he is actually a Rumble superstar. So he has definitely gotten some awards from Rumble and definitely had some kind of luck with Rumble. I have not really dabbled that much in Rumble, but I do know that they are known for the conservative aspect and all along those lines. I do have a quick question for Jacoby and everything, because there is a super media network that is about to be created, and it is coming out of the world of sports, and it is a 21 billion, and I did say billion with a B, merger that is taking place, and it is between the WWE, which is wrestling, and we know that was under the family of McMahon, McMahon I think it was, and everything along those lines. And then there also the more extreme kind of fighting that exists as well, which is kind of that whole mixed martial arts and all of that space. So apparently there is a kind of merger between the UFC and the WWE, and it's going to be a lot of money. I guess we're going to see mixed martial arts folks fighting with like the Hulk or whoever else might be in that space.
How's that going to work? Because you have the mixed martial arts, which is really real fighting, and then you have the WWE, which is all fake meatball. So how are they going to marry these two? Okay, I know it's money.
One's going to be the entertainment wing. The other's going to be the whole battle or the fight ring. So you're going to have that side covered. I mean, it's.
Are you going to bring MME people over to the WWE?
Yep. That'll be what happens.
Wait, these are real fighters. These are killers.
But the thing is, that you need a talent pool to do some extreme fighting in WWE or the other wrestling stuff, because you have, if you look at what is the different cultures of wrestling. So you have Hispanic wrestling, coming out of Mexico and coming out of Japan and all these other things that do some really wild and crazy things with barbed wire to, some really nastiness that wouldn't happen here. But hey, if a person can't make it in MMA, guess where you can go to now?
Can't make it to MMA. Well, I mean, The Rock. Okay, who I like The Rock because he went to the University of Miami. Okay, so he gets a pat on the back. And he played football for the U. He played after I had graduated. Okay. But here was his problem. And this is the real problem. Frankly, he wasn't that good of a football player. So the NFL was not really in his cards. His dad was a professional wrestler, and they struggled financially because not all wrestlers make it. Most of them, frankly, don't. So he was sitting there struggling because he goes, I can't make it in football. So I got to do wrestling, which my dad was horrible at. I'm not that good either. So he tried wrestling, but you know what? He was a good entertainer. See, he got like Dion got. Dion got, this isn't just football. This is entertainment, okay? Because people don't go to watch football. They watch to be entertained. I sit on a golf course, not because I like golfers. The golfers are just normal golfers, but it's entertainment.
It's totally entertainment, and along those same lines, y'all are gonna love the name.
Entertainment.
I know we have a investment. Actually, we have a couple of investment shows because we got Peter Bennett and we also have Sasha that does it. But you gotta love it because apparently they're going to trade under the New York Stock Exchange, and their ticker symbol is wonderful for this organization that they have created, this merger. The ticker symbol is TKO. So technical knockout. I think that's a great name. A lot of people. Yeah, that is their ticker symbol.
And so the number of people
was entertainment. you know. Yeah, Rick, go on.
The number of people in America with brain damage is exploding with long COVID, with an aging population. And, you know, that's not to knock wrestling and MMA, but that's pretty good entertainment if you've got a little bit of brain damage.
Yeah, it is.
It's totally good
Well, some of
entertainment.
the choreography is actually pretty good, especially when they had, you know, some of these tall, big wrestlers that were on the shows, you know, and the way they
Well,
choreographed that, I thought was.
You know, we had one
big
wrestler
show, I
on.
thought was choreographed
We had a
really
wrestler on the new show. I forgot which one it was and everything, but he was on maybe about a month and a half ago. I know that definitely in an earlier rendition or edition of the Gamers Den, there was a couple of wrestlers. I think there was a lady wrestler that Jatovia interviewed. And one of the things that I recall is that they will tell you that it is more of a physical exercise than you think. So while it is choreographed, they actually have to go through some serious training in order to deal with the pratfalls and a number of other things.
It messes you up just as much as any other contact sport.
Right.
Well, the even tougher part about it that you got to think about is that one, not only is the physical there, but the spotlight and the cutthroat side of show business is there, which is different from the actual sports. I mean, you can go out there and fail at getting on an NFL team or getting on an NBA team, so on and so forth. But the cutthroat industry of being not only how you look matters, what you wear matters. I mean, so you're taking showbiz and the physicality of it, which is,
Yeah, but Utopia, along those same lines, isn't one of the most popular sports that is out there for a number of years. It is very popular. I know it's popular in the South, but I think it's popular around the world. Also, one of the most deadliest sports as well, because I know a lot of people that literally want to go to a NASCAR race because they literally would like to see the car crash. And we do know that if the cars crash, there is oftentimes fatalities that are involved in that as well. But it is a part of the popularity of that sport. They love the fast cars and the fast women, but they also love the possibility of there being a disaster and all in that space and everything.
That's completely different than, WWE. WWE, if you're not, if you look a particular way, you're not going to be followed. It's just
you don't want to look normal, by the way.
Plus,
normal on the WWE is not good. The normal person who shows up, that's the person who's going to lose the match. This big Yokozuna who shows
Plus,
up.
we were talking about monopolies and abuse. The WWE under McMahon, that guy ran it super corruptly, right?
Well, he had some sexual issues, believe it or not.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
With some of the undergraduates, they would say, so. He got thrown out and then he got back on. They do have lifestyle issues, I think. A lot of, drugs abuse and all sorts of stuff. I think it's a real tough industry to be in because realize, Rick, they're on the road all the time, going from place to place and having to perform. And like what Mark says, it's physical plus entertainment. In Tampa, where I'm from, it was a big headquarters for the wrestling world. Matter of fact, the guy was the Hulk, went to high school right down the street from where I went to high school. So it's just a real, in my opinion, it's a real tough life.
No, it is a tough life, but I mentioned earlier, I don't know that, and I don't know anybody, well, I know a couple people in that industry, but I don't know that I know them that closely. But I don't think that NASCAR is all of that great of a life and everything. And it is a very major career, and you're traveling around to these sometimes little, you might be traveling to major cities like Charlotte and some of the other ones in Daytona, but you're also going to some of these courses that are in the very rural areas and a lot of travel. And like I said, they are also part of that celebrity culture because, if you are one of those celebrity drivers, then you get all kinds of attention and all in that space. But they've also got, I want to say, it's not as bad as the movie, but there is a decent amount of people that are on the crew as well and everything. And they don't hardly get any pay from what I understand. It was compared to the
I never got NASCAR as a sport. The thing is, I think I saw one when I was a kid, cars running around. Hey, look, if I want to see cars racing up and down the street, I just go down the interstate. especially in Atlanta. Just go to the 285 that goes around. You'll see plenty of cars running fast. I mean, so what do I need to watch NASCAR for? I don't get it. I still don't get it. I don't think I'll ever get it as a sport. I think it's kind of a big waste of time. I hope everybody who goes enjoys it, but I certainly don't. I have a list of things to do. NASCAR is way down on the list if they ever make the list, So I think your low information voters go to NASCAR.
So,
I agree with that. You got a lot of, you do have some low information voters go to basketball too, and go to every sport.
Basketball is a decent sport. I played basketball.
all of them are decent sports. I used to want
Basketball and football are decent sports to watch.
did you want to be a NASCAR driver?
I still got remote control cars downstairs. I mean, it's
it's kids. If kids want to watch remote control cars, that's
remote control cars. The one
is a waste of time.
You got remote control cars that are doing 200 miles per hour now, so it's not little kids.
Toby, you just got to get. I'm a complete snob. Okay, first of all, they have all these stupid programs on in the evening. Okay, some person who's going to grab a tightrope and run across the stage. And they have all these dumb games. I can't. I'm a complete snob. I won't even handle it.
Nick, you also live on a golf course, and that to me was all. And my uncle passed away not that long ago. Was an avid golfer and was definitely involved in a number of our newspaper golf tournaments in the age category because they would do breakdowns by age and everything. And he actually did quite well. I mean, he even trained Michael Jordan and I think James Worthy in some of that game as well. But I never got that sport. Like I said, I understand bowling. You're trying to get the pin and everything, but all that walking and all that golf carting and everything, I never quite got it as a sport. I did attempt tennis, and I'd like tennis. I might try to get back into tennis, but I never did quite get to golfing. I
was playing tennis 3 times a week, basketball 3 times a week, golf 2 times a month. I mean, I thought they were all good games. NASCAR, why would I even bother? I just get on the interstate, so I don't need to watch NASCAR. It's a waste.
What about chess boxing?
Chess boxing actually became pretty popular, but see, I like chess without the boxing. So I do follow the chess world, obviously.
And there's more than just NASCAR to racing. There's the Le Mans. There's open wheel stuff. There's drag racing. There's tons of great stuff.
You're right to the movie, and I can go to Antarctica and watch the ice melt because of
for example. This is crazy.
Let me tell you something. It is more interesting to go to Alaska or Antarctica and watch the ice calves melt than it is to watch a NASCAR.
So this is cool. So even speaking about drag racing, check this out. This is wild for you, Nick. So you think about the Tesla.
You don't understand. Watching NASCAR is torture. If somebody said, Nick, you're going to go to prison, or Nick, you've got to watch NASCAR, show me
drag racing,
please.
This is drag racing. If you think about it, like the Tesla. So the big thing with the EVs, there are 2 things that are holding EVs back. One is the infrastructure dealing with going across the country and being able to stop and get electricity or a charge to go to the next place, just the way the infrastructure is there for gas. So that's one of the problems. But the other problem that's really a problem for a lot of people who drive or really are into cars is the fact that EVs really haven't pushed the speed past the way the general combustion motor goes. Well, that has changed. So like when Tesla started pushing out their cars would go to drag strips and beat out like your big Mustangs and your big street racing cars and so on and so forth. So Tesla was huge for that. There are some that are really cool, but there's one car now that Bugatti had to buy into. So Bugatti made the fastest land vehicle, and that was just unreal watching all the Bugatti stuff. But Bugatti bought into what's called a company called Rimac. Rimac built this car. Well, they built one car that was an electric and an EV that really didn't sell well. Really wasn't all that big out there, but now they bought this one. It's the Rimac Rivera, I think it is, but that is the fastest I mean, and it's not even close, the fastest production vehicle out there. And that's the barrier that combustion vehicles have been trying to.
Jacoby, that's really exciting. Have you ever been on a plane trip on an airplane?
Well, that's what they say that it feels like.
Let me ask you. No, I'm asking you. Have you ever been on an airplane? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know on the takeoff on the airplane, they go real fast? I actually enjoy getting on airplanes because they took off. Boy, it's sweet. I don't care if it's a 717, a 737, 787.
No,
That's what I'm getting to.
A car is like watching a horse and buggy.
Oh no!
Hold on a second. Nick and Jacoby, hold on a second.
So
I want to bring. Hold on a second. Nick and Jacoby,
100 miles per hour.
Yeah, Nick and Jacoby, hold on a second. I want to bring in some.
You may want to go watch a horse and buggy race. You think it's exciting?
Jacoby,
That's you.
and Nick, I want you to check this out because this is actually done off of NASCAR and everything, and they actually use your favorite game describing a race. So literally, they broke down Ross Chastain, who is a NASCAR champion, and showed how he played chess by literally comparing it to a chess game. So you see, this is Ross Chastain and everything, and they even broke down the plays and broke down the plays as a chess game and all in that space. So if you go to NASCAR news, you will say that they literally did a parallel between his race and a chess match and all along those lines. So apparently they were saying he's the master of three-dimensional chess because of what he did in this particular race and all along those lines. So it says Ross received a boisterous cheers at the championship race. He put forth a valiant effort. He finished as runner-up to Joey Logano. Number of drivers that paid him back 0. His incident with Chase Elliott on purpose, doubtful again. Ross had learned his lesson. Chess moves. 1, earning spot in the championship 4 over your adversary, and 2, instantly becoming so popular that anyone who dares wreck you from that point forward will be public enemy number 1. So they're making comparisons to a chess game all through this. So after he did the elimination roll, chess move, it wasn't one, probably not part of the plan. I'm gonna say it was anyway. There are theories on the internet way more reasonable than this one. So they are definitely making a parallel to his entire run and a chess game and all along those lines. And this was on the NASCAR webpage.
You know, Mark, all NASCAR does to me is prove me that Pod TV will be successful. And I'll tell you why. If people are so stupid to watch this stuff, they'll watch our shows too. That's all I can say.
No, NASCAR's fun, but no, Mark, check this out.
This is a waste of time.
No, NASCAR's fun, but again, Nick, you were talking about feeling that airplane boost. Now, one of the top YouTubers out there, so they've done a lot of videos, but one of the top YouTubers out there is MKBHD or Marquez Brownlee. Does a great job, and he had a chance. Mark, if you could pop that one up, he had a chance to talk about this car. And this is what you need, Nick. And this is what you need right here. This rematch, it's the fastest car ever made, hands down, and it's just unreal.
We talk about
it's got four engines. Check this out.
Just make the fastest car possible. And so of course it's electric. You know those like scale of the universe videos on YouTube where the numbers you see the scale of things get bigger and bigger until the numbers just don't even make sense anymore and they're not comprehensible by the human brain? That's this car. 0 to 60 miles an hour, 1.74 seconds.
Oh, that is fast.
World record. 0 to 100 miles an hour in 3.2 seconds.
Okay. You're
World
selling me
record.
on the car.
Quarter mile, 8.3 seconds. World record. 0 to 200 miles an hour in 10 seconds.
That's crazy.
World record. 0 to 250 to 0 in under 30 seconds. World record. There's 23 world records on this list, and one of them is the record for most records broken in a day. These numbers don't really make any sense, so I need to feel this for myself. So track mode, the wing pops up, everything turns red, 100% front power, 100% rear power. Put on the brake, put on the gas. 3, 2.
That's what you need.
I woke him up. I'm home.
Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh, wow. I've never felt that in my face. I think we can do even better. I think we can do it even better. So let's do that quarter mile straight line one more time.
People watch NASCAR,
but this time,
everything else.
next to me is going to be a very, very fast car. The Porsche 911 Turbo S. That car does 0 to 60 in under 2.5 seconds. I'm going to give that 640 horsepower all-wheel drive Porsche a 2-second head start in a 400-yard race. Now let's see what this Rimac does to that very fast Porsche. 0, 1, 2. Oh man.
Unreal.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he just dusted that one.
Oops.
I mean, that's unreal.
That's fast.
I used to like when I was.
You don't
No,
need to
I'm
do that.
saying
like
it's
car,
supposed to
you know, I had
walk
a
a car like that. I mean, this car is fast, but there you have it. This is a street legal electric car after all, though. So around normal roads, how does it drive? So I'm driving in range mode right now, which by default is 100% front axle power, 30% rear axle,
you
and the
control every
softest
part of the car.
suspension and the least aggressive acceleration. The brakes are still really strong, but honestly, this is a very compliant car. That's one of these things that I think is inherently going to be better about all of these electric supercars is they can be really, really soft and friendly despite having 2,000 horsepower available the second you want it. As I'm looking at the top, I have almost 100% battery and about 100 miles of range estimated. So I'm assuming it's going to tell me that my range is low based on how I've driven in the past. And this car has not been babied, so I guess that shouldn't shock me. But we are working with 120 kilowatt hour battery, so pretty big battery, the quad motors, and it will estimate, at least they say, about 300 miles of range on a full charge, which is pretty good. It has that CCS port right behind my head, and it'll charge from 0 to 80% on a fast charger in 20 minutes. And then this is also there's a funny combination of parts. I talked a little bit in the autofocus video about this car, about how they got bought by the Volkswagen Group. They got a bunch of money into this company and they're merged with Bugatti now. So it's Bugatti Rimac. And there's a lot to this car that actually reminds me of Bugatti, where they clearly could have been lighter, but they didn't. They went with high quality stuff everywhere. Basically everything in this car is either carbon fiber or metal, and it is rock solid. There's not a ton of dampening or like noise isolation or foam or anything like that. Like I can hear the rocks like going through the wheel well. It feels like a relatively heavy but still compact sports car. I kind of like it. Also, one more thing I've noticed. So the dashboard of this car, the primary thing in the middle is the speed, and it actually changes the color based on the mode you're in. We'll get to the modes. But also, my estimated range has been going up as I've been driving, so it knows I've been going slower. Kudos. But also, it shows my total power output and regen in a live counter on the side. When I hit the brake pedal, the regen number actually goes up. So that means they're adding regen before blending in the friction brakes. So it feels and drives like a normal car. It coasts mostly when I let off the accelerator, but it behaves a lot like Porsche's Taycan and that same 800-volt system, which means hitting the brakes starts with regen, then adds friction brakes. It's clever.
How much is this
Even the
thing
infotainment is
sell
kind of
for?
interesting. It is a big touchscreen in the middle of the car.
This one?
Interesting.
Yeah.
With,
2.3 million.
behind it, they can
Oh,
just pull
well,
back the
okay.
wheel. But
Oh,
there's
no,
other
no
features.
problem.
There's a
I'll
This got that. This got that. This got that totally accessible. Yeah, no
When I
problem.
press it, it says this car is going
You're
to
gonna get a
voice
loan from
command
Elon Musk because you and
and
Elon are
Apple
tight
CarPlay
that way, right, Nick?
and Android Auto with a software update.
But see, that's
If it
why,
actually
like I
does all
said,
those
Nick,
things,
that's why people
and
watch
it's
NASCAR.
wireless, that would make
That's why
this
people
No,
watch all this
this
driving
is
stuff.
not NASCAR. This is a guy who's showing how a car
but as
you
of
may
right now, it
want to
doesn't have that.
buy.
But you can still connect your
Well,
phone to
not-
Bluetooth music
Okay.
on.
Not even
NASCAR
this,
is
this
running
guy.
around like
All
this,
over
you know.
Kevin. So I really think
So,
I
that
don't need to see him
in
running
this
around like this. I need
transition
the
or in
specs.
this
And the thing that
upcoming boost of all these
important he
electric
told
cars,
me is
one
it
of
goes
the
0 to
most
60 in 1.74 seconds. Okay. See, and the reason why that's important, Jatovi, is you're you know how people, what they do, they tailgate you And see, I have a pretty fast car, 0 to 60 in 6 seconds, okay, which is fairly fast, faster than most cars, but not every car. And what I like to do is just go zoom and get away from them. If you had a 0 to 60 in 1.74 seconds, then
you could totally get away with the cops. There'd be no coming out. They would disappear. You guys would get a speeding ticket. Quick question, because I know we only got another.
Hold on. What you want to do is buy that car, take off the body, the shell, and replace it with the shell of a 2012 Celica, and then just drive it like an old lady until somebody pisses you off, starts tailgating, and then go foul.
Yeah. I like your plan, Rick, and everything. But real quick question, because one of the things I was getting ready to get to in the media is sometimes we get these entertainment people that are honored because of their humanitarian aspects and everything. And apparently one of the major writers, Shonda Rhimes and Lena Waithe and Matt Balmer, will be honored this year's Human Rights Campaign National Dinner, which will take place in October 14th. So I was just wondering, do we really care, or should we care that these celebrity types are getting awards and all in that space? Because apparently Waithe is being, Rhimes said, "I am honored to be receiving this award from an organization that does so much to combat oppression, exclusion, and hate. I am proud to be an ally in this fight." And Waithe says, "Centering the intersection of queerness and Blackness has been at the forefront of my work and drives me to continue to share Black queer stories for myself, my community, and the world." She says she is unapologetically Black, queer, and a woman telling intersectional stories that spotlight our authentic experience is a crucial path toward a future where equal protections and equal opportunities is not a privilege, but a guarantee. And Balmer will be honored with a Impact Award, which recognizes members of the LGBTQ plus community that are dedicated to championing and advocating for queer issues in every corner of their life. And of course, Matt was also honored to be given this award. I was just wondering, how much do we care about these awards, or do they just add to nice little resumes?
Well, about the Writers Guild has a similar prize, the Humanitas Prize, and I think it's important because nobody wants to be preached at. Be more tolerant, and trans people or people too. That gets old really fast. That gets old faster than watching NASCAR. But if you can take a talented writer like Lena Waithe, Shonda Rhimes, and they can braid those themes into, soapy shows that are fun to watch, that's the way to get your message across. Make it entertaining instead of preaching.
Yeah, these people have to be the most insecure people on the bloody planet. Give me a break, Mark. You see a person who's a celebrity. They have money. They're on the air all the time. They have attention. They have popularity. And they need an award? How insecure can you possibly be that you need to have an award? It always got me, the Academy Awards and the Emmys and the Tony Awards. I'm going, dude, you have money, you're on the air all the time, or you have people, you have followers, and you need an award? Are you serious? The only guy who was Marlon Brando said, I ain't going to go bother and go to this stupid stuff. But there are plenty of people out there that need awards. Celebrities aren't.
Well, speaking of awards, apparently Maury Povich, and we know that he's noted for his lovely DNA test and everything else, but he wants to confirm whether or not Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are half brothers. So during a recent interview with McConaughey, there was a video from Povich in which the former Maury host told the actor that he would come out of retirement to give him and Harrelson a DNA test. So what are our thoughts? Do they need to do this DNA test to find out whether they're half brothers or not? Maybe he's seeing the similarities in their look or something, but he wants to confirm that they're half brothers. There's a rumor that me and Jatopia are actually second cousins or first cousins. So maybe we're going to have a DNA test as well and everything.
That would be another Geraldo opens Al Capone's vault. It would be an hour that leads up to nothing.
Yeah, well, they are doing a lot more DNA testing. So the thing is, and DNA testing is showing a lot of people are related to a lot of people. I mean, it's just the way it is. But in terms of, it's kind of a gimmick. But frankly, who cares and why should we care? I mean, that's the reality.
There's already a show that does that. Henry Louis Gates has.
Yeah, actually, his Roots show is pretty good. I like watching it. It shows the roots and stuff. And I've been messing around with this Ancestry.com stuff because my sister's been messing with it.
When you talked about the Academy Awards, there's a documented rumor of who won, that they had to change the results of the first Academy Award for Best Actor because it was won by Rin Tin Tin, the German Shepherd.
Oh, really?
And
okay. Yeah.
They, who was a great actor, but they're like, well, we can't give it to a dog. This will, we will not be taken seriously. So they fixed the vote.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
did Rin Tin Tin beat Lassie?
Rin Tin Tin beat Lassie. I don't know.
Rin Tin Tin was a genius actor dog, apparently. Could do emotions, could understand a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Would not be surprised. Well, I think tomorrow, don't we have the political show, Mark?
We do. At 5:00 is the political show on Tuesday and Thursday. And speaking of the political show, the votes are in right now. Taylor Swift is beating Donald Trump. Adam Lambarello has no votes, and I'm trying to remember who the other candidate was. But right now it is a race between Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift is beating handily Mr. Donald Trump, and all along those lines. So we do have
Taylor
that.
Swift has an unfair advantage. She is winning the election because she is going out with Travis Kelce, and she was at the Kansas City game yesterday.
Yeah, that got a lot of attention.
Definitely has an advantage. By the way, Martin Scorsese is in the news as well because he's discussing one of Gatovi's favorite topics, comic book and franchise culture. And apparently he's spoken out against that in LinkedIn this past. So he said that they're, when asked about these blockbusters, he said that their omnipresence could be negative to audiences who aren't well-versed in other types of films. The danger there is what it's doing to our culture, because there are going to be generations now that think movies are only those. That's what movies are. So
I've got one quick question for the panel here. When you take somebody like Kumail Nanjiani, not a superhero, turn him into a superhero, and he trains for a year and 6,000 calories a day and 3 hours of weightlifting and does the spouse like it when somebody gets a superhero body, or is the process so brutal that that the spouse is like, oh, please, I don't care about your pecs. Just,
I think only the spouse can answer that particular.
Yeah, only the spouse can answer that. But the last thing that Martin Scorsese said was he also spoke about the streaming area definition of content as opposed to actual cinema. He said, I do not think that the manufactured content isn't really cinema. So he's saying that it's almost like AI making a film, and that doesn't mean that you don't have incredible directors and special effect people doing beautiful artwork. But what does it mean? What do these films, what will it give you aside from the kind of consumption of something and then eliminate it from your mind, your whole body, So what is it giving you? So apparently Martin Scorsese is doing the rendition of one of our other panelists and being the grumpy old man.
Well, Scorsese and others have spoken out against superhero films, but I mean, superhero films are films just as everything else. Film noir. I mean,
he needs to get over it, to Toby. Yeah. We need to get over our show because we're at the hour. But I do want to thank our panelists on the media show, and we from the United States of America, and we will see you next week in the United States and around the world. Until then, have a good week. Bye-bye.